Welcome to Thursday Night Knives. Coming up, I give away this beautiful dagger sting. It's a gift to the channel by Dave of OG Blade Reviews. I look forward to that. Also, I am going to show you, and not right now, Billy of Apex Alchemy. I'm going to show you one of his Raptora models. He's been making knives, and man, this is awesome. Can't wait to see where he goes with that. And then, how has your taste in knives changed? And now that I'm saying this, I feel like I've asked that question a lot, kind of off the cuff, because it interests me. As time goes on, I feel like there are trends that we see things, knives become dated in a strange way. And well, it's just always interesting to see how people's tastes change. Marco, nice to see you here, sir. Evening, Bob and Knife Junkies, he says. Well, evening to you, sir. Ground Fog, nice to have you with us, Ground Fog. I'm curious what it says down there in your avatar there. Have a knife day. Good to have you here. Good evening, Good evening, Junkie Nation, he says. As time has progressed, I have found that where things are made has become more important to me. Supporting Made in America, veteran-made makers. That's pretty awesome. If you like Marines, there are a lot of Marine Corps, former Marine knife makers out there. We've talked to a lot of them right here on the show. I know there are more in reserve, too. Have a Knife Day says, I support my brothers and sisters of military service and my fellow Americans. Here, here. After that, I try to purchase from what I consider to be allied countries. That's my 2 cents on the subject. I like that, allied countries. Italy, not always our ally, but now they seem to be. Italy, Spain, Germany. There are a lot of cool knives made all over the place. Bob's and not to forget Japan and Taiwan. Hopefully Taiwan stays our friend. Bob's Pocket Knives said this will be a good one. Well, it's nice to have you here, Bob. Always a pleasure to see you, but also to see my name on someone else. You know, you don't see too many Bobs these days. When I was a kid, I knew one other Bobby, and he never went by Bob. I feel like Bob is a different generation, so I'm happy to carry on the mantle. Speak of the devil, excuse me. Speak of the devil. We have Billy here, Apex Alchemy. I intended to try to stay awake for this. If I don't see you guys around, I'll watch tomorrow's show. I'm making this all up, but I get the gist of what he's saying. I'll watch the show tomorrow. You guys stay safe out there. Billy, before you go, then I was going to wait to show this, but since you're still here, this is the knife that Mr. Apex Alchemy Billy sent me that he made. It's a model of his, one of a couple of different models he does, and he started making knives recently. I feel like we've all probably been here for that. And man alive, has he come far in a short period of time. My God, beautiful, very, very sharp hollow ground blade that gets wicked sharp. This is, oh my gosh, he gave me all of the specs, and they're on my phone, which I'm using as the knife cam. 52100. I don't remember what the blade steel is. It's a long number blade steel. I think it's heat treated 6162. Crowned spine. This is not micarta. This is that other stuff. I'm trying to remember all the specs he sent me, Billy. I apologize, but for the video I do, and I'm going to do a video on this and a usage video. I'll talk about all of the technical specs, but something that is striking right away is that angle of the blade, of the edge of the blade to the handle, and how much cutting that is going to do, how that is going to accelerate the cutting, having all of the material you're cutting channeled into that triangle, the apex of that triangle. Oh, the apex of that triangle. Maybe that's why he did it. A tremendous cutter. I shouldn't say, of course, I've only had this for 2 days, and I've only cut paper with it. Glides right through, but I'm going to do a usage video of this, and I'm very excited. Quite comfortable in the hand. Billy, very impressive example of your knife making, and man, I can't wait to see your subsequent designs. I know you have one other one, and everything from there. Very nice. And I like this handle to blade. Put a little pointier tip on that, and that would make a great thruster too. Wouldn't have to put your put your wrist down. I like that sort of pistol grip setup a lot. Really nicely done. I'll pull that out later. We'll look at it some more. Dion, nice to have you. Nice to have you here, Dion. Hello, King Junkie, Jim, and Junkies. I asked my girlfriend Raylene this week this week to marry me, and she said yes. Can any junkies here guess what day I asked? Why and why that day? Hint: it's knife related. Was it on National Knife Day, which I think was recently? Dion, congratulations, and to Raylene, best wishes. You never say congratulations to the woman or the bride to be. You say best wishes. So best wishes, Raylene, and Dion, congratulations. Very well done. I love seeing people get married. I hope people start getting married again a lot more and having kids. We need more kids around. All right, Doug Bowl, good to have you here, Doug. How you doing? How's it going, Bob and everybody? It's going well. It's going very well since that email you sent me the other day. I'm looking forward to that. My lands. Speaking of generous, OG Blade Reviews, nice to have you here, sir. Evening, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. I'm not sure if you were here a few moments ago, but today we are giving away the Sting given to us by OG Blade Works. This thing is beautiful. And by the way, everything he sends us is absolutely pristine. Not only are they cool knives and good knives and great knives to receive as giveaway prizes, but they are all in pristine shape. He keeps really good care of his knives. He has a lot of them, so I imagine that he doesn't carry all the knives that he reviews, but man, they come in beautiful shape when he sends them to us, and they go out to you in that same shape. So there it is with that cool clip. The clip that's grown on me. I'm not big into skulls, but this has grown on me ever since talking with the gentleman who started this company at a bar at Blade Show, and I intend to have him on. OG Blade Reviews, still like vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry, but not strawberry so much. Huh? Oh, your taste. I got you. Yeah, not strawberry so much. That's what strawberry looks like. Incidentally, or not incidentally, but just by the way, that cut, my thumb is still, all that feeling's not there. Apparently, the doctor says I didn't hit the nerve, but it'll do till the real thing gets here, as they say, as the Coen brothers say anyway. Reverend Jim Lander, nice to see you here, sir. Howdy, junkies. Hope you are sharp tonight. I'm sharp. I'm a hungry sharp tonight. Didn't really have dinner tonight, I'm realizing. I had a banana on the way to back to school night. Anyone here remember or know what back to school night is? Yes. Went and met all the new freshman year teachers for one of my daughters tonight. Forgot all about dinner, got home, came down here. So, woo! I'm going to be really cracking and crispy. Dion Page says, Bob, it's Raylene. Hey, Raylene, how you doing? Waiting for my Nova 2 for Dion for his 50th birthday gift. Now I said, yes, we will use the knife to carry at our wedding. Oh my God, that's so cool. Raylene, thanks for commenting. As a matter of fact, I've been squaring everything away, got money sent to, since we just closed the pre-order, got money sent to Matt Chase. And everyone's getting their email tomorrow with the date that he gave me, that he thinks, rough date that he thinks they'll be done. And what an honor to have I left mine upstairs on my dresser. But it'll go well at a wedding with that white handle, or that cream colored handle. Happy Thursday, folks, says Craig Vincent. Raylene, thank you for commenting. It's nice to talk to you virtually. John White, good to have you here, John. #knife. Thanks for the giveaway chance to win. That's so funny, John. Thanks for saying that, because I never mentioned to win this knife, you have to put #knife in the comments. I think Jim probably floated up the lower third saying that, but now I'm saying it in person. Put #knife in the comments, and this really nice Sting, really nice knife from Dagger could be yours. I was really kind of hacked, not at Dagger, but at myself. At Blade Show, they had a small Bally song, and I had been speaking with Fred Perrin over at Wingard Wearables table, and Fred Perrin had a tiny, pretty small Bally song, and he made it look so cool to have a little tiny small Bally song that I was going to get one from these guys. They were only accepting cash at the point, and I was like, oh, I'm going to the cash machine. And then, of course, I diverted, never ended up doing it. So I need to get that small little Bally song. Edgy American Shane, nice to have you here, sir. Hey, you guys, he says. Well, hey, right back at you. It's good to have you here, and I can't wait to see get one of your knives too. I'm very much looking forward to that. Mango Badger, nice to have you here, Mango. Hi, Bob and crew. Hello to you. I started with smaller, slimmer EDC friendly knives. Now I prefer big honking blades with overbuilt handles. Pockets be darned. They're just more fun. I have to agree with you. Tonight I pulled out a couple. I didn't pull out too many folders tonight because this effing thumb. It's amazing how much we use our dominant thumbs opening and closing knives. Like that just feels weird. Doesn't necessarily hurt, but it feels weird right now. But I brought out a couple of my chunkers. This is not a chunker actually. This is pretty slender. But here's a beefy handle with a nice blade. Same sort of thing. I am with you is what I'm saying design wise. I like the big chunky blades with the thick handles. All right, chunky. You get what I mean. Will B, nice to have you here. Will, evening, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Will, how you doing? Did you have a good week? Apex Alchemy says, "Don't rush anything for me, brother." 100%. I'm not going to, but I want to get on it. Hopefully this weekend. I have a use for this. It certainly will not stress the knife out, but I don't think you were thinking of this, but I'm thinking of this. It seems like it might be a very good use for this. So we're going to check it out. Frankie Frank, nice to have you here, Frankie Frank. What's going on, Bob, Jim, and everyone viewing? As Bruce Buffer would say, it's time. Yeah, Bruce Buffer, one of the best out there. I've always thought it'd be fun to do announcery, over the top announcery stuff like the Academy Awards. Like that would be so fun to be in a voice booth and do that. I think that'd be so fun. So anyway, there you have it. Split and Slices says, howdy, Knife Junkie, Jim, and all out there. Thursday Night Knives. Byron, it's very nice to have you here, sir. I like that you have that K-bar tomahawk in your picture cutting the pizza. I like that. Reverend Jim, because of that curve, seems like you could just drag it across. You get a nice cut. Reverend Jim says, I am drifting onward I think you meant toward. I'm drifting toward fixed blades and locking blade knives. Well, Jim, Reverend, I think that's the way to go. I mean, the locking blades, yes. And for me, that's a taste issue. I just like them. But I also really like slip joints. I think the linchpin and a really important thing is the fixed blade. I think it's time. 15N20. I think it was 15N20 and TerraTough. I think you're right about that. 15N20. Yes, thank you. High carbon 6162. At least I got that right. TerraTough scales, G10 liners, and I forgot to put a lanyard hole in it. Well, thank you, Apex Alchemy. I know, Billy, I know you were planning on dipping because it's getting late, but thank you for letting me know that. Yeah, you do have actually a nice spot for a lanyard hole. I am totally pro lanyard or pro fob, whatever your thing is. I don't live with them long. I usually get excited about them and then take them off of my folders mostly. But this is a perfect spot because sometimes I don't like to feel here. Oh, that doesn't have it. I don't like to when the hole is right through the handle and your hand in any way touches it. I don't like feeling the paracord that comes out of the hole because it's got to make a right angle turn so it bulges out, and I just don't like that. But you have a good spot there, at least for medium-sized hands, to put it without any contact. So 15N20, hardened at 61 to 62 with a crowned spine, very nice crowned spine, and TerraTough with G10 liners. Very nicely done. Will B says, I'm more into fixed blades now than when I started a few years ago. I also tend to look at knives that start over $100. Now I'm more likely to buy over $300 than I was. This all, except for the fixed blade part, all describes me pretty well because for me, if it's not, this is not a rule. This is just something I've noticed, and I think we'll be saying the same thing. But if it's not over 100, it's got to be way under 100, and then I'm interested. I like Rough Rider folders, slip joints for $15-10. I go crazy over those, or an Open L for nothing, or some cheesy little something great, small and cheap. I love stuff that is high value under $100. I just don't tend to go for, unless, I don't know, Civivi's I've got a soft spot. Maybe I have a couple of other soft spots, but on the whole, I'm with you. James Hart, nice to have you here, James. Well, if a knife does not call out to me, okay. Let me reread this. Well, if a knife does not call out to me, resonate with me, or is so very unique, nope, I won't buy it. As for what's in my pocket today, my Cold Steel Voyager Clip Point XL 5.5 inch. Excellent. That was my emotional support knife last week, I believe, on last Thursday. But I'm with you. If it doesn't, that's how I've become. It took me a long time to get here, but unless it's a gift, or unless a company wants me to check something out and I'm interested, I usually move that along here anyway. Yeah, I'm not going to do it just to that looks like an interesting blade shape. That used to be me, or I don't have that locking mechanism. I should get that just to have it. I lost my taste with Mark Salva. Nice to have you. I lost my taste with COVID, and I don't mean to laugh, because I lost mine for a good 8 months with COVID. No, maybe less. Completely lost it for probably about 4 months. And then I had this weird, every time I tasted anything that was sweet, whether mostly artificially, but how often do you have real sugar anyway? It would taste like rotten lemons. My COVID really jacked up my taste centers, taste buds. James Moore, nice to have you here, James. Hey, knife people, he says, unfortunately, my taste has changed towards knives that are progressively more expensive. This is the progressive insanity of knife collecting, because depending on your personal taste, like if you I like exotic materials. I just happen to know for a fact that we differ on the kind of exotic materials. I know that James likes mokutai and a lot of the exotic modern stuff. I like exotic, like walrus tooth and cool old stuff like that. But where was I going with this? I don't know. I need dinner. Where was I going with this? Oh, in terms of taste, one way or another, it's gonna get more expensive. Whether you're going towards the mammoth ivory or going towards the mokutai, it's gonna get expensive. And if your thing is really folders and custom folders, the sky's the limit. Sky is the limit. And now I know I've seen a lot of fancy custom fixed blades, but it seems like there's a lot more reasonable realm before you get up there. I could be wrong. Frankie Franks, in this, I think I'm right. Frankie Frank says, I still need to get my hands on that Natchez. Oh, I have it right here. But I did finally get my hands on the Insidious Cold Steel Talwar. I love it. Feels like home in my hands, no doubt. I'm curious why you call it insidious. That's a creepy adjective for a knife. But here's the Natchez. Again, this is not the 3V. I think we were talking about 3V, whether you should go 3V or 4034. And this is the 4034, but 3V is pretty sweet. I think you'll like it. I was using my 3V Boon 2 by Bark River Knives all weekend. It was great. Northern Knives, what's up, Bob, Jim, and Junkies? Mike, how you doing, sir? I'm going to be showing off your knife in a second. Very cool Gentleman Junkie giveaway knife for next month coming into us from Mike and Northern Knives and Filthy Designs. What am I? Colorful Filth. Filthy Whore Designs. Oh, wait, what is it? Colorful Filth Designs. Sorry, excuse the language. Apex Alchemy says, #knife for Dion Page in celebration. Excellent. Okay, everyone, I don't care if you want the knife or not. Put #knife in the comments. You might not want it at all. You might think it's a fugly knife, but you could give it away. You could sell it. Just get it. Get it in your hands, and you won't want to get rid of it. Because I got to say, even with my jacked up thumb, the jimping here feels good. Feels good. Actually, that's the kind of feedback I need right now with this thumb, and it's kind of 50% feeling. I need jimping. I definitely need jimping right now. Daniel Huff, nice to see you, Daniel. Good evening, Bob, Jim, and fellow knife junkies. Well, hello to you and welcome. Welcome, sir. Adrian Fighter 35. Nice to have you here, Adrian. Good evening, fellow knife junkies. Good evening to you. Stephen Clayton. Nice to have Stephen with us. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Stephen. You've got the coffee and a knife. I am lacking coffee tonight. Oh, I had to drink Pepsi. We don't drink Pepsi in this house, but we do get it for my mother-in-law because she likes it. And I needed a quick burst of caffeine after back to school night. Couldn't make coffee, and boom, I got it with the Pepsi. But man alive, I do not like Pepsi. Okay, James Hart. Nice to have you here, James. My newest edge item is the Musashi Tactical Wakizashi with an 18-inch long blade. Okay. Musashi Moriai. No, that's Yoshiba, the guy who started Aikido. Musashi, what was his first name? He's the Book of Five Rings. He was a renegade samurai. He was the guy who fought with two swords at once. And he did all sorts of cool stuff, like show up super late to duels so that his opponent would be flustered by the lack of decorum. He did all sorts of crazy stuff, but known for his two-handed sword fighting. Musashi, something else. There's another part to his name. Damn it. Doug Bull. Bob, it was about a 6-week time period until my thumb got pretty much back to normal. 6 weeks. All right. Doug, thank you for that. I really appreciate it because I feel like, and I think I was saying this last, I think I feel like there's ever more feeling like today it's been hurting. Today, this is weird. When I would wash my hands, it would feel like not in a painful way, but in a loose way. Like there's a big flap of skin on my thumb that was just flapping around. Like I had just cut it real bad. Weird feeling. Chris229, nice to have you here, Chris. Evening, everyone. Evening to you. I like your avatar. It's like the angles either on the floor if you're doing Kempo or the angles in the air if you're doing Kali. I like it. Edgy American. My tastes have shifted towards knives made by actual people I know. Hey, you know what? I can relate to that 100% because my goal has always been to have one knife from everyone I've interviewed, and that hasn't come near. I haven't come near close to that, but it's something to strive for. And as I started doing that, just kind of as a remembrance thing, at some point I could be like, oh yeah, I interviewed the guy who designed this. That was cool. And but also now it's gotten to the point where I would really love to have something made by everyone, but fixed blade knives are my thing, and I can afford those, so that's what I'm doing pretty much with the people who are like Shane. I'm gonna buy one from Shane. He was just on the show, and he's making knives, and I think that's cool. But his point was knives that are made by people he knows, or maybe you might just say people, maybe American people. Craig Vincent says, in the past 2 years, my tastes have changed several times. Currently, I'm buying Bowies and vintage USA stuff of all type. I love that. From fixies to slip joints. Scored a 60-year-old Forgecraft butcher knife Monday. Very cool. I love that. I'm right now going through a little interest period myself. Based on remembering stories my grandpa would tell me, got me interested in looking at hobo stuff. And, all that implies, like they had EDC down, man. The hobos, they had everything in a little bindle or in a little haversack. And, they lived in that, going from place to place to try and find work. I think it's very interesting. Donald Fry. Donald, I just got a notification on my phone. Donald Fry is our latest gentleman junkie. Thank you so much, Donald. And so next week you will be in the running to win this. And we're going to show this off in a minute. Donald says, howdy, Bob and fellow junkies. Looking forward to hanging out with everybody tonight. B. That's right. I'm being, you be. Let's all just be. Let's hang out and be. I know you probably mistyped that, but I like it. So welcome to the Patreon family, and welcome here. James Hart says, I hurt my left thumb splitting wood with a very sharp tomahawk. Back in June, I think it was. Still a numb place, but getting better. All right. I'm loving this. Thank you, James. And thank you, Doug. Like, both of you have given me a little bit more confidence. I think it'll come back. And I trust the doctor. The doctor seemed from his watch to know what he was talking about and his practice. Holy mackerel. So I think I trust that guy, and I'm very happy to hear that all of you have gotten feeling back in your thumbs after you did something to it that probably wasn't as stupid as I, but you did something to it. Apex Alchemy says that blank actually has a lanyard hole in it. Oh, this is from that batch of blanks that you posted on Instagram with it's got all the lightning holes, lightening holes, not lightning. Oh, wait. There was one last bit of that statement, Jim. If you could go back to, I just need to get lucky and drill the right spot. Yeah, that's right. You can triangulate maybe from photographs and such. Reverend Jim says, in regard to slip joints, I always am entranced by a good Stockman. I love the stock. Okay, what's your favorite Stockman? I love the jumbo Stockman from Case, though the detent or the action is lacking, but I love the size and I went through a Stockman period not that long ago, but the 66 I think is my favorite Stockman, the GEC 66. And who was it that I was talking to? This was a surprise, and I'll remember. I'll zero in on it. But one of the knife makers I was talking to in the last year. Oh, who was it? Tip of my tongue. 66, the GEC 66 Stockman is his favorite knife. He carries it all the time. It's the guy, traditional pocket knives. Oh, help me with his name. I'm sorry. I'm having a senior moment, but that's his favorite knife. And I thought, this man knows what he's talking about. Mattisfaction, another man who knows what he's talking about. And he knows how to design a damn fine knife. Hello, all. I'm doing a full USA carry this week for remembrance. That's beautiful. Today was the Benchmade Osborne. Taste in knives changed a lot this year. I am only buying knives made or designed by friends. I love it. I love it. And, that pool is ever growing. The design by has been growing a lot. Now the made by is growing a lot. And I love that. Yeah. When I retire or when we move from this house, I'm going to start forging. Mark my words. I'm going to start forging and stock removal. But I need to get back to my pyro roots of my youth. And I think I need to, I think I need a forge. Daniel Huff says, speaking of Rough Rider knives, I'm amazed at the quality of the knives in spite of the extreme budget price. Yes, they are excellent. The 420 HC steel, it's not winning any prizes, but it works fine for the pedestrian uses that most of us have for cheap slip joints. And their Black Mule Bowie, which looks like the Shining Mountain Bowie, designed by Mike Stewart, is a really great example. It's a $25 9.5-inch Bowie knife made with 3 CR13 MOV, which happens to be a really excellent outdoor steel. It's an amazing knife for $25. It performs so well. And there was, this is when I got a bunch of Bowie knives 2 summers ago and was banging them around outside, splitting wood with them and doing all sorts of stuff. That knife turned out to be amazing, though the handle fell off. But luckily, Byron sent me some beautiful wood that I'm staring guiltily at over there. I'm going to re-handle that one of these days because it's such a great blade. It's very much worth it. Doug Bowl says, Bob, the issue with all stainless is a person doesn't get the daily requirement for iron. Yes, yes. I agree, sir. Especially if you're doing something like this. I don't know how the pirates did that. Like, I can do that for about 2 seconds and look goofy on camera, but putting that in your teeth and climbing up, the side of a ship, I guess you have to have the proper motivation. They weren't so soft as the kind of man I am. Pirates riding the waves and all that. Riding the waves? Whatever. Matisfaction, #knife, that's a dagger. Wouldn't you want it? Yeah, no kidding. This thing, the detent on this, by the way, is positively popping. It is so nice. My preferred way to open this one is with the middle finger, and it just shoots out. It has and the thumb is good too, though my left is inadequate and my right, it works. Robert Strebin, nice to see you here, Robert. Robert, if you're interested, #knife. At first, I was not into multi-tool knives, but as I've gotten older, now I carry a Leatherman with me every day beside a folding knife. I know many of you out there don't, but I love mine. I always have one close at hand. There's a million and one uses for a Leatherman. I have one in like my car, one in my bag, one in the junk drawer in the kitchen, a bunch of places. It's good to have them. I'm me. Howdy, sir, he says. Well, howdy to you, sir. And I'm not sure, but is that candy corn in your avatar? Probably not. Maybe that's a strike anywhere Tinder. Dion Page says, the way my taste has changed is that I want to make knives and it's getting closer. The roof goes on the shop this weekend. Dion Page, music to my ears, my man. I love it. I love it. And it's not envy. It's not envy. But there's a bit of jealousy in knowing that people are on their knife building journeys and I'm not on my journey. I need to be on my journey, people. Journeying. Everyone's on a journey. I need to be on a journey. It needs to be a knife making journey. And this journey needs to begin soon. I just need to find the right ship. See, that's the problem with using the word journey. But I'm a curmudgeon. What can I say? I have discovered this weekend that I can be a stick in the mud. I can be an old fart and I need to loosen up. Craig Vincent says, after searching for some time, I finally found another Ontario Old Hickory 14-inch butcher knife. That's sweet. It's on its way. Nicely done. I gave mine away last year and had no idea how hard it would be to replace. Yeah, because Ontario went away. Ontario Knife and Tool decided to go out of business. Raylene says, Bob, to answer your question, I've started to really enjoy learning about knives. I did not realize how limitless the styles are. No doubt. I did some reading knife history. I did. Swords are awesome. Oh, Raylene. Yes. Yes. Swords are awesome. I agree with you. And swords, well, swords fall into a lot of categories. These are swords back here at only 29 inches. Generally, most Filipino swords, no matter kind of where they come from, they're about that size, about 30 inches or so, unless you're talking about their big battle sword, which isn't. But anyway, Raylene, I agree with you 100%. Swords are cool, and sword culture and like sword history is very interesting. They used to be very, very, very exclusive and prized in some cultures. Miyamoto, homies. Yeah, Miyamoto Musashi, says Frankie Frank. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I would have woken up in the middle of the night. Speaking of swords, Raylene, he's an interesting one to read for sure. The Book of Five Rings. He doesn't really talk much about swords in terms of like how cool they are, but he talks about killing people with them and fooling them with them and all that. Dueling. Have a Knife Day says, damn it, this is a Diet Coke house. Yeah, you know what? If I've kind of gotten us to, we have a lot of seltzer around. I like seltzer water, bubbly water. But if it were soda, we'd be a Dr. Pepper root beer house. Oh, yeah. Anything you can easily put rum in and it's fine. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I'm not just kidding, but I love those two flavors a lot. Edgy American says, if Knipex makes a Cobra plier multi-tool, it's all over for Leatherman. Wait, what do you mean by Cobra plier? What's a Cobra plier? Is that the kind that has the half? Well, what's a Cobra plier? He's like, look it up. Vic Nilla, nice to have you here, Vic. Did you check out the Diva Tallboy? Yeah, I meant to mention that, and they're not watching tonight, but congratulations to them. They sold out in moments, or well, they sold out today, the day that they dropped the Fat Boy. Very nice looking Warncliffe knife. Is that no? You might call that a sheep's foot knife, I guess. Beautifully done. CM Designs or Colin Maison Pierre and Kevin. Just making beautiful, beautiful stuff. So congratulations to them on that. If I were to have my own, I'd probably go for the purple one because right now I'm liking purple. Tim School of Fish, Miyamoto Musashi. Yes, thank you, sir. I've been digging your videos, Tim. Miyamoto. Okay. Fidelity in Revenge. Oh my God, that's good. I like that. See, I'm supposed to not believe in revenge, but I really do. So that's something I got to work on. Knives are life. Good to have you here. Hello, sir. Hope all is well. All is great with me. Hope you're enjoying your new knife. Mango Badger, hashtag knifeflation is too real. Knifeflation is real. My collection is fair. I was going to put that in the title, but I needed to keep it small. I was wondering if the economy had changed anyone's buying habits. Of course, we many of us probably watched the debate, and of course, they talked a lot about the economy. And while I was sitting there, I'm like, I'm not buying as many knives as I was, and I'm like, part of that is discipline, but I'm like, why? Well, why the sudden discipline? Oh, because it's necessary now. Not that it wasn't before, but you know what I'm getting at. My collection is fairly rounded out, and now a new knife has to really stand out to appeal to me. I hear you. That's good. That's a sign of someone who's maturing into their collecting, because they're not just getting anything. It took me like 35 or 40 years to mature into that. Usually that comes with a high price to match. Well, that is also true. That's also true. Nowadays, when I buy something, it's almost always like something I'm saving for or waiting for, which hasn't always been the case. Like up until about 15 minutes ago, it wasn't the case. Joseph S., nice to have you here, Joseph. Good evening, everyone. JS. Do you make knives, Joseph? He says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you, sir. And the reason I asked, JS, is there a knife company? JS Bling? Yeah, something. Five Door. Good to have you here, Five Door. I used to, over the last few years, I've carried less about weight. Let me start from the top. I used to, over the last few years, I've cared less about weight on moderns and more about origin, much more into slip joints and history. That's interesting. Yeah. I wonder if that's, you get into it because knives are useful, they're interesting, they're cool, and they're fun. But then as you get your kind of fill of this is fun and this is fidgety, if you still stay in it, you're bound to go for deeper reasons to collect, like you do in any other thing. Well, this one is, made in America, or this one has an interesting story, or this one can do this or that. For the culture, Eugene Krabs. Eugene has been chipping away at my future Forge fund. And let's see, in that vein, do I have anything forged here? I have nothing forged on the table tonight, but I will pull out this. This is all right, sir. I'm going to salute you with this beautiful kukri. I've shown it off the past few weeks. Dave got this for me for my birthday. Thank you, Eugene. I will show you this. Look at this. Made by traditional Filipino weapons. Yes, out of the Philippines. But no, this is not a Filipino weapon. This is, oh, look at that. Oh, man, this thing is beautiful. I got to be careful with the cut as I hold it. Let me hold it like this. So this is indeed a Nepalese weapon, the kukri, carried by the Gurkhas, a very well-respected worldwide and historical fighting force out of Nepal. And they fought alongside the Brits for a long time. And I know my brother-in-law did a joint exercise with them when he was in the Marine Corps, and he got such a cool kukri out of it. And it has, like, always remember the exercise, had something inscribed. Anyway, this is such a beautiful version of that, and they really nailed the traditional aspects of it and gave it that traditional Filipino weapons feel, which is you could fight with this all day long if you needed to, or hew down sugarcane or bamboo or what have you. So this is for you, Eugene. Thank you, sir. You are a gentleman and a scholar. All right. Put this back in the somewhat traditional but very useful and cool. The sheath is more like a Filipino sheath because it's wood wrapped in leather, and it's loose in there. Filipino sheaths are pretty loose because the blades are usually pretty curved, and you want to draw them out quickly. Whereas the traditional kukri sheaths, I'm not sure if they have any wood in them, but if they do, it's buried deep beneath leather, and they're much more contoured, and at least the ones I have are more difficult to draw. But in watching Steve Price draw knives, man, he's got some kukris that come out like lightning. And I know that's partially him, but it's also got to be the sheaths. Frankie Frank says, my tastes have changed from factory edge knives to handmade knives from different countries. It's cool to see and feel differences on the steel and finishes. I like that. Different countries. All right. I have spoken too long. I think now it's time. Oh, Scotch and things. Nice to see you. I love your collection, by the way. All right. Let's get to a pocket check.
What's in his pocket? Let's find out. Here's the Knife Junkie with his pocket check of knives.
In my front right pocket today, I was carrying this. This is the standoff from Dirk Pinkerton Designs. This is a prototype for a design he's going to be releasing at some point when it's ready. And I know Dave has had one of these in his possession. He did a great video on it. I've been carrying this thing a lot, and especially, well, not especially, but kind of almost daily for the past week and a half. Flippers. I need a flipper right now because thumb studs are uncomfortable. So right now, flipper is what's in order. I was carrying this when he first sent it to me, and then I put it down for a minute, and then again, I've been carrying it a whole lot. I love it. I can't wait. I gave him a couple of notes, like 2, and they're low-hanging fruit, and one of them he already mentioned. And yeah, this thing is, he asked me, what else would you change? And I was like, nothing. This, to me, and I don't know, Dave's mileage may vary, though his review is quite glowing of this knife. This knife to me is like, it's next to perfect. And you say, why next to? Well, I don't know. I just don't want to say it's perfect, but I love it. I mean, my suggestion is a slightly stiffer detent and slightly sharper fuller. And he is already on top of the fuller. And the detent question with a prototype, I feel like the detent on a prototype, it's, I don't know if that's the final one or if it's very scientifically arrived at, but I kind of feel like it's a prototype, but I'll still mention I would like a stiffer detent just for the flipper action. Though with the fuller, that might all change. All right, next up in my front right next to this was the, all right, I'm going to open this once because, man, that has really awesome action. Okay, so today in my front right pocket next to the standoff I had the new Benny's clip. This is the second run of the Benny's clip. Ben Belkin and Jack Wolf Knives' version of the famous Lanny's clip designed by Tony Bose. So it's got that broad trapper shaped handle, and then it has a very unique hollow ground, saber ground, long clip point blade. So that long dramatic clip point with the quite a bit of straight here on the cutting edge, and then you have belly and that upswept point. This is just a great knife. It's very, very sharp. It's very, very classy. It's large, and as far as the Jack Wolfs go, and as far as slip joints go, it's got a large feel to it. It's got a robust feel to it, but it still has all the fineness of a Jack Wolf knife, all the like precision, build, and incredible walk and talk and all the rest. This thing is amazing. But an additional cool thing about this latest run of the Jack Wolf knife Benny's clip, which will be dropping tomorrow, as I say this, if you're watching on the 12th of September 2024, this will be dropping tomorrow on the 13th. But what I think is very interesting about this run of knives is the fact that it will be marking the introduction of the Steel series. And the Steel series costs 1/3 less than the rest of the Jack Wolf knives. So this Benny's clip here is $299, $300 for this beautiful knife. But if you want the same design, same profile, same everything, except materials, then you can get their Steel version of this. Steel series version has a 14C28N blade, still ground, super thin, hollow ground saber grind, with steel instead of titanium, integrated liners and bolsters. And it looks beautiful because the steel from the back spring and the steel from the frame and all of it all looks like one big block, and it's all hafted together so perfectly. It looks beautiful. But I also just love the concept of offering Jack Wolf knives quality just at a lower price, just using quote unquote lesser materials. And really the only way I would be able to measure that, like the difference between S90V and 14C28N, I am not going to see with my type of usage. If I were doing scab stuff all the time, cutting sandblasting tubes and stuff, or hoses, I would notice. But my lifestyle, I don't notice. So the 14C28N, the steel, I think it's a great, great thing. He's always innovating, always trying something new, and I think this is a great way to go, because I'm sure that there are plenty of people who want Jack Wolf knives who don't want to pay the money. And to be 100% frank, if I weren't receiving these Jack Wolf knives from Ben, I'd be one of them. I'd be like, man, I want that. And now that it's less expensive, I'm going for it. So I think it's a really great idea business wise, and I also think it's great for the knife fandom in general. Something also that I like about the look of the Steel series version is, I don't know, it's kind of got a maritime feel. The dark blue micarta handle and the bright kind of silvery bolsters and stuff. Looks good. Just looks good. All right, next up on me, another purple knife that's near and dear. Today I had the I had the Agent 001 on me today. And I hadn't carried this one in a couple of weeks. No, I haven't carried this one in probably like a week. But as things are getting cooler again, I'm back into horizontal carry. Towards the end of the summer, I just wasn't doing it. It just wasn't practical because it got pretty hot here. I was in my swimsuit a lot, and I was just doing a lot of in the waistband stuff. But now I'm back in front scout carry, and I was carrying this beautiful knife. I love this knife so much, and they're doing a custom version of it that's they're auctioning off. That is in this crazy sort of copper, steel. It's forged. So they have that company's logo on this side instead of mine, and then the TKL logo on the other side. It looks absolutely beautiful. I think it's something that they're doing a raffle on. I think it's somewhat of a limited, like a very limited thing. I don't know. Might even be a one-off. I'm not sure. Okay. Lastly, in my panoply today, I was carrying the Ladakh. I've been carrying this a lot since my daughter Olympia made this beautiful braided leather necklace for it. Well, I commissioned her. I gave her $5 for it, but all I had on me was a 20. So I gave her $20, and she's already done the second one. And then she's given me making two more of these this weekend. And I don't know, I'll put them on my neck knives or whatever. I just want her to work for it and see how cool it is to make something and then get money for it. So I had to give her $20. I didn't want to cheap out like the moment she handed it to me. So now she owes me. Isn't that great? This is how it works, baby. You owe me. But that aside, the Ladakh, such a cool knife by Fred Perrin. I just saw on his feed, he was carrying his just the other day. Instead of jute wrap, he's got like I think it's rubber. He's got some sort of, rubbery handle cover here. And I think that's necessary. Some sort of grip here is necessary. And the way it's sent, like the handle edges come to a sharp enough 90-degree angle that you could actually make micarta or G10 or wood, whatever, scales for this. Put it right on and haft it all together. It would work great. This is a great knife blank for someone who feels like just handling and putting a handle on a knife. But me, I like the thinness of it. So even with that jute cord, this thing actually hangs around the neck. It's great. It's great. You kind of forget it's there. You know, when I don't forget it's there, I tend to lean into desks. My desk where I edit video at work, depending on what room I'm in, because we rotate, but sometimes the monitor is the distance of the monitor and the smallness of the monitor has me leaning in, and my aged eyes has me leaning in. And that's the only time I'll feel that is when I'm pressed up against the desk, and then I just take it off. But yeah, I love it, and I love how light and thin it is. And also, I haven't done it yet, but I plan on doing this. Where you see those red sort of marks are here, I'd like to carve out little semicircle divots so that I can drop it in my pocket and just pull it out and have these little divots on the side hook on the inside of the pocket, much like an Elvia or a fruit knife style setup. Look at that motley crew. 2 purple knives, something French. And by the way, this made by Max Knives in France. I had 2 of them around my neck today because I keep a little tiny little Fred Perrin ring knife on the back of my work ID. So I had 2 Fred Perrin knives around my neck today. How cool does that make me? Well, extremely, you say. Today I had the up and coming. Keep your eyes peeled if you like this beautiful modern Wharncliffe in S90V and titanium, beautifully made. And just, I'm not sure who the OEM is on this. I know that he will keep that under his hat. But anyway, really keep your eyes peeled on and go over to Instagram and link up with Dirk Pinkerton. That's such a cool. I love this line. And wait for this. This is going to drop. It'll be a pre-order situation. And then this is dropping tomorrow. This is the new for 2024 September Benny's clip. And of course, they have some more of these available. I just saw today, the Nova ones over at TKL Knives. And then finally, I had the Ladakh. Okay, what were you guys carrying? Enough of my bloviating. I'll bloviate on your behalf. What did you have on you? So this, as you get to that, this has been strongly inspired by my Knives by Nuge primitive wicket, which is a surprising, huge favorite of mine. surprisingly a gigantic, huge favorite. I love that knife. Mark Salva says, quite often the pocket clip can make or break the deal for me. I'm with you. Not so much for the function aspect, but the form. The pocket clip on a knife kind of serves the same visual element as the wheels on a car. That's actually quite apt. Ooh, I'm sorry. Ooh, that's quite apt. I think that's a perfect analogy. And yeah, some clips are ugly. Some clips are too don't match the rest of the blade. Yeah. Big E, the knife nut. Nice to have you here, Big E. Hey guys, he says. Well, hello, Big E. It's a pleasure, and I like the trees in your avatar. Northern Knives says, I've found my taste went from hard use big titanium monsters like the ZT300 series to hard use titanium monsters with clean trick engineering, like beveled like beveled corners, bearings, and smooth action. Well, in all fairness, the ZT300 series kind of came before some of that stuff. I don't know about chamfering, but before bearings, yeah, and I mean, not smooth action, but I totally hear you. You're now a luxury hard use knife guy, and I get that. You like the luxuries of the bearings and all that. I'm with you. That's kind of my here, like this. I know this could go the distance for anything I want, but oh, look at how it closes. Adrian Fighter 35 says, Bob, my wife really enjoys your voice now. We watch your show together. Oh, thank you. That's awesome. Thanks, man. Well, hey, anything I can do to warm up the environment and those closest to you to knives, the better. My style in knives has gone from basic work knives full of cold steel weapons fanatics, weapons equal to, well, yeah. That's that's totally me. That's probably why you're here in the first place. Luck Knives, howdy. How you doing, Mike? Oh man, you've been making some really beautiful stuff. If you guys aren't following Luck Knives, you're missing out. Follow Luck Knives on Instagram. You may remember him as NAF Sergeant, where he on his YouTube channel was giving really excellent reviews and assessments of knives. As a matter of fact, he hit me to this really awesome deep cut, the Resco Instruments Mekong Delta Combat Fighter or folder, whatever this thing is called. And yeah, he's an awesome guy, and his knife making is really cool. He's making some super cool stuff. But that thing you just made, that knife you just released with the very unique Damascene blade, I guess it was really cool. Will B, nice to have you here. Oh, what am I talking about? Will, you and I have been talking for hours. Will says, one thing that hasn't changed for me, and I don't think ever will, not interested in slip joints at all. Okay, so that's you. That's Dave. I remember Zelric 32. Zelric didn't like slip joints, and you could not convince him. He'd be like, well, they came out with locks since the slip joint was created, so we don't need them. What do you think of this Muso Bowie? I love that shape. No need to answer, Shane. I know how you feel. Actually, you like this one. I think you like the ones that taper towards the tip, not towards the ricasso, I believe. Matisfaction says, it's an amazing time for knives for sure. I am loving every moment of it. Just wish I won the lotto or something so I can buy all the knives. That's so funny. That's me a lot of the time. I'm like, I wish I could just get everything. For instance, we were talking about, well, this is Spartan. And I would do the same thing with them, but we were talking about cold steel. Just send me everything and I'll send back the stuff I don't want. That's probably easier. And I kind of feel that way about Spartan. And I hear you about winning the lottery, man. Reverend Jim says, I have way too much attachment to my Buck 301, a Stockman, to keep this. Okay, so is this the 301 or is this? So this is the 375. I got this, and I have the 301 upstairs in our kitchen drawer. But this smaller one has been here. I'm going to open this up. Has been a gem for years. I love this one. And I think this was just a Walmart exclusive because of those the what do you call it? The bone. The bone. I think that this was originally just out in wood, but you can get it from bone there. I want a Bob made knife eventually. Oh, hell yeah. I've got maybe you and I do a trade. I still have some Bob made knives kicking it around here, and they're pretty good and they're damn sharp. And they're well heat treated. They're just not that wonderfully finished, maybe. I don't know. It's hard, noob. A noob who only did it every once in a while and then stopped. Edgy American says, budget steels that lack edge retention don't bother me. Great steels done poorly piss me off. Yeah, right. Exactly. I mean, that's like having, I'm not pissed that my Honda Pilot doesn't go 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds, but I'm quite pissed that my Corvette doesn't, or whatever. My Ferrari doesn't do that. Even though it's really sweet, it just is lacking in this one area. Yeah. It's got the great engine, but it's got a governor on it that won't let it go above 45 miles an hour. Matt Morrison, nice to have you here, Matt. I found a Solingen, Germany Rhino blade Bowie from 1950s in an old toolbox. See, this is the kind of thing, Matt, that I want to happen to me. Like, exactly. With an antler style handle, even more exactly. Should I refinish it? That depends on you. See, for me personally, if I knew all of this was like my grandpa's knife, like if I found this in my grandpa's old toolbox or my dad's old toolbox or something like that, I would not. I would leave it as it was personally, just to kind of retain the history of it and that kind of thing. But if it were just some random knife, some dude you never knew and you found his knife and now it's 54 years later and it still has a lot of life out of it, yeah, refinish it. But be careful. Be careful, and B, think about whether you want to do it for a while, because if it does have any sentimental value, you might want to leave that sentimental value on there. And thank you, Dion. I saw that. He was saying punch, chop, elbow, stab, headbutt, the like button. And I agree. We got to give this knife away sometime soon. Doug Bull says, Bob, I forgot to add, was the doc advised after the wound healed not to baby the thumb and try and use it normally? That's interesting you say that. I've been doing the same thing and thinking of the nursing, not nursing school, but nursing home mantra, which is don't do anything for the residents that they can do for themselves. And that's kind of like, don't, I the first couple of days, I would let my arm hang dead and I was doing everything with my left hand. And I'm like, what am I doing? Like, it doesn't even hurt unless I hit it and then it hurts a lot. But I can do stuff, but I was just kind of letting my hand dangle. It was weird. Craig Vincent says, Bob, the one time I got bit from a knife was a few days after my Espada XL arrived. It got me good, practically sliced off the tip of my middle finger. Damn. Rendering it useless for expression in traffic. Now you're just like, get out of here. Oh, sorry. Get out of here. Or how some people do that weird thing where we don't have to talk about that. The finger. Everyone's got their own way of flipping the finger. I hope you figured out a new way because we all need this. Is always good. Ray Herman says, Knife Junkies, there's 50 some watching and only 25 pushed like sharpen button. Okay, sharpen up. I like that. Only 25. So half of you pushed sharp. Pushed like. Well, maybe that's why I can't speak tonight. And how many people have put in hashtag knife? I think we need to figure that out because we need to give this knife away. And I want to do it soon. Raylene says, Bob, Dion will carry Nova 2. I will carry sword flower bouquet. Ooh, a sword flower bouquet. So that's like something in the middle, like a longer, like a calla lily or something, and then shorter stuff around here, like the pommel. That'd be pretty cool. All right, I got the official tally. 70 watching, 39 entries. Now, granted, some people might be watching with the sound off. So if you are, I'm going to say this really loud. Put hashtag knife in the comments. And that way, in a few minutes, you can win this. That way, you see, I can call a cab. If anyone knows what movie that is from, I will be very, very proud of you and might figure out something. But you cannot look it up. If you do, you're a chump. That way, you see, I can call a cab. James Hart says, a short sword generally has a blade length of 18 to 22 inches long. I prefer a short sword, actually, as do I. I don't have much experience with long swords, but you say you don't like Pepsi. Have you tried Pepsi Cola with real sugar? That's what I was having. And actually, it's not bad. But there is a recipe, just like Coke has it, just like they all have recipes. And I like Coke better. I just do. The Mexican Coke with the yellow tab. But I don't drink it that much anyway that I get upset about it. Somewhere along the line, Coke pissed me off politically. I know it was a long time ago, and I don't remember what it was. And ever since then, I've been like, oh, yeah. Well, you were only really good out of my grandma's glasses with South Euclid, Ohio water ice. So go take it on the arches, Coca-Cola. Edgy American says the Knipex Cobra is their most popular model. Is that the one that's kind of like... they are good-looking pliers, and I'm fond of saying knives are unique because there's no wrench community, but there is a pliers community. So, vengeance is mine. The Lord said so. Yeah, I'm not the Lord, so it's his. Vengeance is his. And eventually his foot will slip and all that. I know, but I should be able to get with that, as I am Sicilian and or a quarter Sicilian. I should be able to wait for that revenge. But the rest of the Italian in me is too impatient and hot-headed. So I want revenge now. Ouchie EDC, nice to have you here. Ouchie EDC, howdy, he says. Well, howdy to you, sir, presumably. Broke Arizona Knives, what's up, y'all? How you doing? Broke Arizona Knives, I think we're doing great. Hashtag knife. Okay, in 2.5 minutes, we're doing this. At 11:10, we're doing this. Marco says coal. Now I don't know what that is. Cole is someone's first name. And what was I trying to think of? The normalization of expensive Chinese knives. This is Shane. The normalization of expensive Chinese knives is driving knifeflation through the roof. Gonna get worse. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I was wondering. I don't really remember last time, but how did the steel tariffs affect? Because we had steel tariffs on China for a while, didn't we? And India. How did that affect the knife market? I don't really remember. Lots of other shit was happening at the time. But I'm curious if anyone remembers that. Bob's Pocket Knives says, hello, my fellow hashtag knife guys. Well, I know what Bob wants. And Bob, I appreciate your transparency. Bob wants the dagger sting. And you can have it too. All you got to do is put hashtag knife right in the comments in the next minute and 10 seconds. And it could be yours. We're going to use the YouTube or the StreamYard random number generator to find out. Isaiah Ramirez, nice to have you here, sir. You're the man, Bob. Well, Isaiah, I turn it back on you and say, I think you're the man, sir. So thanks for coming. And I appreciate the kind words. James Hart says, I have 6 different kukris, including the service number 1, which is being carried by the Gurkhas. Oh, cool. What does that look like? I need to look that up. Because, anyone who likes kukris knows that there are lots of different subtle differences from kukri to kukri. So I'm curious what kukri service number 1 looks like. That's cool. They speak to me, but I have 6, and I think there is one more, but well, hey, James, we all got to get it off our chest. We all have to have things or people we can speak to, and things or people that speak to us. And if kukris are doing the speaking, You need to do the listening. Shane says, I am not fighting the man that has a kukri. Holy mackerel. Yeah, I mean, like, I remember hearing stories about how, like, friendly fire from a kukri in a melee, guys chopping off their friends' arms by accident. Craig Vincent, I think one of the most underrated knives is the Green River Dexter 4215, made continuously for over 100 years. It's the all-purpose knife that went west with both the settlers. What is this? Green River Dexter. Okay, I'm going to just copy this. Oh, wait, I can't copy it. All right, I'm going to have to remember it. Green River Dexter. Hang on, let me write this down. Bear with me, and then we'll give this blasted knife away. Green River Dexter 4215. Thanks, Craig, and thanks, Jim, for leaving that up. Dwayne Letterman, nice to have you here, Dwayne. Howdy, Bob, Jim, Byron, Marco, Downey, Joseph, Pedro, AZ, Fog, Craig, Door. Hello to you, sir. Carrying the new Orion Aries today. The Aries. Which one is the Aries? I don't think I know that one yet. Ooh, cool. I didn't know he had a new one out. I saw that he did a sort of 3D print for open L blades, like a different handle that you put an open L blade in. Pinkerton is secretly a savage. His designs are discreetly menacing. He is a total savage. Here's another example of what a savage he is. I mean, he's a savage at the grinder too. He doesn't just design great knives that really good companies make. He does this with his own hands. This is a super thin LMAX double hollow ground curved double-edged fighting knife. It's exquisite. And I know Dave has a similar one. He's got one with a bayonet grind, so the thumb comes up further. But just such an amazing knife, and he's so influenced by. He's got such a breadth of knowledge of historical and ethnographic weapons, and he does a lot of mixing and matching and just like cool stuff in his design. So yeah, I agree with you. He is a secret savage. Hinderer Collector, well, not so secret. Hinderer Collector 41. Nice to have you here, Brent. Always good to see you, sir. My EDC is my one-off XM24 Blackout. Very cool. I know that's going to be cool coming from your collection. Cooper Clark. That's a cool name. Cooper Clark. That's like a movie star name. Cooper says, Dauntless Dogbone in 3V. Staple Leatherman arc on my belt. Staple Leatherman. Sorry. Arc on my belt. Leatherman arc. So staple meaning you always have that there, but the Dauntless Dogbone perhaps is today's carry. Dion Page says, I asked Raylene to marry me on 9/9 at 9/9. That's cool. Why? If you care to divulge. If it's totally personal, I totally get it. But that's interesting. On September 9th at 9:09. Was it morning or evening? Maybe you would have said 21:09 if it were evening. All right, let's do this. Thank you, Jim. Jim's keeping me honest. He's like, Bob, come on. 4 minutes overtime. I'm going to put away this really cool Pinkerton knife. This is called the Razorback, by the way. All right. I'm going to show this. By the way, I haven't really said much about the jimping on this knife. However, the jimping on this knife is exquisite. Really nice. Man, it just like the thumbs. This is a great knife. This is one I should probably keep and adopt into the collection, foster it for a while before I let it out into the wild. It's really nice. And you know, I'm liking their skull-shaped hole, and I like it a lot. It works great. It looks cool, and it's a subtler touch than that. All right. We're doing this now, Jim. I swear to God. In 3, 2, 1. All right. Always interesting to see the names flashing by, knowing that it's not going to be Bob. It's going to be Artisan Keto Cheetos. Hey, Bob, sorry. I just meant that it always slows down and lands on someone else. Artisan Keto Cheetos. This is Cheeto. Is this Cheeto Bandito? I think it might be, or formerly. All right, Cheeto, send me your address, TheKnifeJunkie@gmail.com, and I will get this sent out to you, hopefully tomorrow. Since I've gotten pirate ship, I've gotten better at shipping stuff. So very, very nice knife, and very nice of you to show up and to support the show. Congratulations. I want to show you this thing. So this is Cheeto. I will wait for you to send me your address. Also, who is it? Jay Demeter. If you're here, Jay Demeter, I got a Civivi that I'm trying to send to you, man. Send me your address, Jay Demeter. Byron says, Carrie is the Kaiser Sheepdog XL. Nice. The Tempest Concept Fractus. Very nice. And the Kershaw Culpeper Slippy. I love the Culpeper. Very nice. Dave says, today's Carrie. Devo Tallboy. Altai and S90V. Very nice. That's a brand new beauty. The Concept Loki. Not sure I know that one. That's new. I know that's a new one. The Riot Mini Crossroads. That's a Kirby Lambert. Agent 001. That's a TKL. Artisan Kami. The Wee Blackow. Oh, geez. Microtech Stitch Auto. Cold Steel Tall Right. God. Geez, man. You've got such a nice collection. And the Wee Blackow jumps out in particular. You just carried that on Thursday, so you could write that down and dangle it in front of me. Dave's got the Wee Blackow, which I foolishly didn't buy, by Miguel Barbudo, who, if you don't follow him, he's a Spanish knife maker. Very nice man, and has a cool style, just in general when you meet him. But he lives in kind of rural Spain, like idyllic from his videos, rural Spain, and he makes just the most beautiful knives, beautiful Spanish clip points, beautiful hunting knives and fighting knives. But my favorite are his navajas. He makes beautiful navajas, and that Blackow is a looker. I wish I had it. Scotch and Things, Z-Wear SMF. Ooh, nice. And Sebenza 31 today. Very nice. That's classic Carry. 2/3 of the triumvirate, or at least the old triumvirate, the one I still live by. Doug Bull says, Bob, in my pockets, the Sidewinder. Very nice. That's the SOG. He sent me his pristine SOG Sidewinder. Man, that thing is awesome. On my waist, the K-Bar EC 44 until tomorrow. And I know what you mean, and I am grateful, sir. That'll be cool. Doug is going to be sending me that knife, and I can't wait to show it off. That's the Eck dagger that was so coveted amongst the troops in World War II. Joseph S. Emerson Mini CQC5, an excellent choice. The Essie Azula and a Marlin Spike. I love Marlin Spikes. And actually, I think if you can make the blade lock as well as the spike and make the blade a little sharpier and stabbier, what a great weapon. James Hart, it is starting to show wear by how many times I've sharpened it. And yes, they are overlooked by people today. Green River knives are made from 1095. Okay, I have that written on my laptop. I'm going to be looking that up, James. All right, I'm going to take off my wedding ring, which I rarely do. But I'm going to take it off to handle this knife because I do not want to scratch it. This is what we're giving away for the Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway next week. Look at this friggin' beautiful knife. So this was sent to me by Mike of Northern Knives. Northern Knives gets together with Colorful Filth. That's Paul Munko's design company. To do collaborations. And I don't know how many they've done, but this is the second one that the Knife Junkie has been involved, the Knife Junkie channel has been involved in. And man, this thing is super cool. You might remember we gave away a pry tool with some really good anodizing on it. Really cool and good anodizing. And this time we're giving away this, which was sent to us, an 80 20.5 in titanium and 20 CV steel, but beautifully anodized with this aquatic, terrifying motif. You've got 3 great white sharks, one lurking back by the pivot, one way back in the background there, and then this one obviously right up front, ready to devour that diver with the deep sea diving bell helmet on. He's stuck between a giant squid and a giant shark, so he is clearly on the ropes here. So an endless source of entertainment and tension just looking at this side of the knife. Oh my God, what's going to happen? Is he going to be able to use that spear to thwart either of these monsters? Or is he just in the middle of a fight between two monsters? The world may never know. All right. On the other side, this is really cool. This is like a deep water trench and an old school diving bell type submarine. And I'm loving that too. And we all know that this is where the kaiju come out of. This is where all the monsters come out of. So, very scary deep water trench there. And then when you open the blade, it's Cerakoted and you've got these little bubbles on it. This thing is a real gem. And in the box itself, you'll find if you win this, that is, you'll find the pocket clip. And the pocket clip, actually, I learned yesterday, fits into these two screws, so it doesn't require any extra milling in the handle. So the handle is totally unmolested. You could have this in a leather pocket slip without any extra holes on that blade and never have to put the clip on, which is what I would recommend. I mean, you wouldn't want to put this in your pocket. I mean, I wouldn't anyway. I wouldn't want to scuff up or mess up that anodizing at all. So I wanted to show this to you. If you are interested in this, if you like Demco knives or the 80-20.5, or if you like Mike or Northern knives, or if you like Paul Munko and his filthy, rotten, colorful designs, or his knives, become a gentleman junkie. Check it out. You might win. Your chances of winning are greater than they were tonight with the hashtag knife win tonight. So come join us over at Patreon, TheKnifeJunkie.com/Patreon. Or Jim puts up the QR code a lot. You can scan that. That's another quick way of getting there. But I'm going to put this beautiful knife back in its case and put my wedding ring back on. By the way, this is the case. Very similar to like a TKL Knives case. TKL Knives, obviously bigger, but it has that sort of ratcheted system on the side. Very cool. All right. Isaiah says the Kell knife. Oh, does that type of handle have a name? Okay. I'm assuming you're talking about this. Not that I know of, but we've been seeing a lot of handles like this in, I'd say I'll say loosely, the last 4 or 5 years. And what I'm talking about, and I think you might be talking about, is this sort of bird's beak extension that allows you a great place to place your thumb in reverse grip, or gives you Bob's pocket knives. I like the blue and purple black hearts there, or gives you great purchase against the back of the blade here like this. No, I don't know if there's any particular name to that style, but I know there's there are a lot of companies that have been doing that, or a lot of knife designs that have done that, and I love it. Thinking of Bill Rapier's pocket knife, the Northman fixed blade pocket knife, or Compliance Edge has a beautiful model with that kind of long thumb shelf on the pommel. Bunch of other companies too. What was that? Bunch of other companies too. Shane says, Bob in his swimsuit, that vision will be hard to get rid of. In my swimsuit with an Agent 001. And for all I know, I'm built like Arnold Schwarzenegger, because you only see me from here up. Well, I'm not. You're like, yeah, we know. So try and scrub that from your mind. There are worse images you could think of me. But bathing suits up there. EDC, morning, he says. Is that a black flag? Good morning to you, sir. EDC. Kyle Coonley, nice to have you here. Hola, weirdos. Perfectly said. What can I say? Hola to you, my weird friend. Frankie Frank says, "Hey Bob, what would be your favorite go-to budget-friendly type of steel for under $100? 14C28N. I love that steel. I love 154 CM, which you can get that under $100. 14C 154. I've used a lot of VG10. I think 154 and VG10 are kind of similar. These are blade steels that aren't so hard. Or I guess the way they're commonly heat treated, they're easy to sharpen, and for my use case, keep a good edge. So yeah, I would say 14C28N, 154 CM. I like D2. Plenty. Isaiah says, if I were to look up the thing that seals the jute on Amazon, what exactly would I type in the search bar? All right, I think what most normal people or like real knife makers use, for instance, here, this right here is Knives by Nuge, and that is a very nice jute cord. I use cheap jute cord that's all uneven. This is very nice, and he puts some sort of liquid epoxy. I'm not sure if it's I don't think it's a two-part epoxy that you mix, that's thick. I think it already comes liquid. And I would go, instead of going to Amazon, or I would do your research on USA Knife Maker or Texas Knife Supply, or one of the knife making places, and look up epoxy, and then, see if you can get it for a better price on Amazon or something like that. But to do your research, Isaiah, go to one of the knife making websites that sell materials. And then this is how I did it. And I think it works really great. I don't know the long term, and I don't know about if it will stand up to the harshness of the jungle and all that other stuff. I don't do. So I don't really worry about it. But I use off the shelf amber shellac that you would shellac wood with. And I put it on there. I let it get like 85% dry, and then I light it on fire. And that does two things. It hastens the drying. It also adds color to it, and gives it a little burnt tone. Here, he did that with a blowtorch, and if I had done this with a blowtorch, you'd get kind of a similar effect. But and then the first day or two, it smells a little bit like that sort of sweet smell of shellac, and then that goes away completely, and now it's just a solid, rigid thing on there. So I know that like legit knife makers aren't using shellac, but I'm a big fan of it. I always have been. I used to use it in my paintings. I used to light paintings on fire with shellac because I love what it did when it stopped burning. Or if you, and these are not like big, stupid, abstract paintings. These were cool, figurative paintings, but use it for texture and a certain feel. I would use that. I would use that shellac. I'm a big fan. Craig Vincent says, today was the 8010, the SR1 Tonto Light. That's my everyday backpack folder, by the way. XL Voyager clip point. Someone else was carrying that today. The XL Voyager Tonto serrated. I love that. My XL Voyager Tonto is also serrated. S35VN Bush Ranger. The G10 Verdict Tonto. The Con. Pendleton Mini Fixie. I love that. And yes, my Ladakh as a necker with bead chain. Very cool. So Craig Vincent is carrying the same knife. Look at that. Great minds thinking alike. And you've got a bead chain. I've got a leather woven chain. I bet your handle probably looks different. Do you have anything on there? I was tempted not to put anything on there, but I found it uncomfortable without it. And I find that the jute it didn't add so much girth that I don't wear it or carry it. But do you have something on yours? Robert says, hey, Bob, here's an off the wall question. Oh, good. Would you use a knife to cut? Oh, dude. Yes. As a matter of fact, I did it today, and someone commented on it, said I was like George Costanza. So I don't eat candy bars with a knife and fork, but what I will do, and this was a a Mary Jane. So it's an old school candy. It's peanut flavored taffy. And someone at the office bought it and left a bag of it. And I've always loved that candy. But I don't like the whole thing. I don't like chewing on it. I don't like the whole thing in my mouth. What I've always liked to do with this and Bitto honey is cut little slivers off, put it in my tongue and let it melt. And then I go about my work, do my work. And then I constantly have a constant kind of sugar drip going on in my mouth. So that's the long answer, Robert. I absolutely would use a knife to cut a candy bar. I would stop at the fork. If no one was watching, maybe I would eat it with a fork because I like utensils. What can I say? If it were like a long tined colonial fork, yeah, I'd do that. But that would be for the fork's sake, just for the fork of it. So yeah, I would. Sword XXXY. Nice to have you here. Good day, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Sorry I'm late today. No worries, sir. You can always watch all of the beautiful, incredible, insightful things I said later. Will B says, I can appreciate a slip joint and the aesthetics of it, just like I told Ben. Yeah, when I was handling some of Jack Wolf knives, but they're not for me at all. Yeah, you mentioned that last week, and that is a very interesting point. Like, trying to think of what knife is not for me at all. I mean, well, I should a lot of the really cool EDC knives I can recognize are really cool and I like them, but they're just not for me, I'm trying to think of what knife in particular, but I don't know. You get the idea, or maybe you don't, but I got to say, like, my taste in folding knives has narrowed. My taste in fixed blades has widened. Like, I do not aspire to get more than one or two custom folders. I want a Charles Marlowe folder. Just I want one so badly, but not so badly that I'm gonna like sell everything I have to get one. Or I know he doesn't crank them out. That's for sure. So, but Charles Marlowe, to me, the Squall is like the coolest knife ever. But I don't aspire to that as much. Just a lot of the stuff that I once would get, not so much anymore. But I appreciate them, and I like when they come through here. But I like to send them along too. Dion Page says, I like to collect and look at slip joints, but to EDC a slippy is a waste of pocket space. That's interesting because I've always thought, man, I got a nice collection of slip joints. I wish I carried them more. A lot. I mean, I'm very much carrying a lot of Jack Wolf knives. Ben sends me Jack Wolf knives, and I love them. They're excellent. And I feel as he's sending them to me for free. I should be carrying the hell out of them so that when I'm saying this is a really great knife, I'm not just saying it. Though, I mean, have you ever heard me say a bad thing about Jack Wolf knives? Maybe I didn't like the Ultim on my Pioneer, but that wasn't the knives' fault. Will B says ZT0308, the Microtech Amphibian, Spyderco Smock, Microtech Hera 2 Recurve, TCal Knives, Night Stalker, CQC edition, or CQC, edition, we'll call it. Olight Baton 3 and Heretic Thoth. The Thoth pen. Of some spaghetti with Thoth. Stephen Clayton Jr. says Remnant Alliance Scourge. TCal Knives, Agent 001, 002, 003. Man, that's cool. Combatant Raider, Taylor's Ridge, TS87, FLN, Guardian, Night Guard 2.0, Night Stalker CG, FMF, Nighthawk, Gideon 3, and Piranha. Okay, I got to count them. Okay, the Scourge, we won't count. Agent 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry, guys. That's what I get when I don't have coffee. Combatant, Raider, Taylor's Ridge, TS87, FLN, only one today, Guardian, Night Guard, that's 10, Night Guard 2.0, Night Stalker CG, FMF, Nighthawk, Gideon, Piranha. 16 TCal knives at once. And he's not BSing. I met Steven and his son at Blade Show, and Steven had it all on him. And it wasn't like, awkwardly jammed. He knew where everything, and he had it all set up. Cooper Clark says, taste has gone from tanks like Adamas to hard-use luxury knives like Hinderers and Striders to more refined knives like the CRK Sabenza, sprinkling in some slip joints and pocket fix blades. So Cooper, do you not like the tanks anymore? Have you lost your taste for those? Or have you been adding on? Like we always know that there's something in the forefront of our collecting at the time. Right now, I'm really into, you've heard me say that a million times. Right now, I'm really into custom fixed blades, or right now, I'm really into titanium frame locks. But the question is, do you maintain interest in the things that you've gone past, like the Strider and the Hinderer? Professor EDC, nice to have you, Professor EDC. It's good to see you here. Bob, Jim, everyone, hope you're all doing well. Yep. We're doing well. Thank you, man. It's good to have you here as always. And interested to find out what you're carrying these days. Daniel Huff says today's carry was a custom fixed blade from Iron Rabbit Forge. Victorinox Adventurer Case Mini Sodbuster. That's an awesome one. Oh, in the new Sea Dragon pattern. The Spyderco Endura in K390 and the Victorinox Multi-Tool. That's a nice carry, Daniel. Nicely rounded out. You got the fixed blade. You got the two slippies. One of them being the Adventurer. That's a cool knife. And the Spyderco Endura. Very nice. A trade would be epic. Well, let's do it then. Yeah. Todd Carr. Yeah. That's what we should do. And we'll talk about this offline. We'll circle back. Angry Tom, nice to have you here, sir. Hi guys, I'm late. Hi guys, I'm late. Sorry. Tom, well, I'm glad you're here. They always say better late than never. Craig Vincent says, I found a Munn WW2 era hatchet at a pawn shop yesterday. I got it for $2. Jeez. Man, I'm not familiar. I think I've heard of that hatchet brand, or I think I've heard of Munn's, but man, $2. Mark Stallman, nice to see you here, Mark. I wouldn't refinish your German Rhino. Clean handle well and apply some wax. Well, take it from Mark. I mean, that sounds right to me. Though I got to say, I have spiffed up some of these old knives, and I'm glad I did that. But again, it's not like I was in knocking off the red rust. I wasn't besmirching anyone's memory. Cooper Clark says, I still prefer washers to bearings. I do too, because of my job and lifestyle. Approximately 3.5 inches will always be a preference. Yeah, for me, it's 3.5 to 4 inches preferred. And let's see, Blessed Knives. Did I have the sound off? I don't know. Blessed Knives. It's good to have you here, though. Funny. I know. I'm hilarious. I want to build a Wakizashi so badly. That's awesome, dude. Here, I got one right up here. My wife got me that years ago. It's old. I don't know how old, but it's old. I love the idea. Yes, build a Wakizashi. I don't know if there are a couple people in the audience right now who have made knives or who make knives. Is it easier to do something large? It seems like starting with a sword, except for the heat treat part, might actually be a good way to go. And I'm not saying that you're starting off, sir. I'm not sure what your experience is, but yeah, a Wakizashi would be so cool to make. And there are so many different aspects. If you make it traditionally, then you got the whole handle and the manuki and the tsuba and all the cool areas of detail that you can go down a rabbit hole. I think it's a great idea. Bob, Raylene will carry a sword yet to be determined with a flower bouquet around it. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Euclid, I knew I liked you, Bob. Yeah, my South Euclid. So there's a difference, and I know you know that, Kyle. But yeah, that's where my grandparents lived. Yeah, it was cool. I miss them, and I miss that place. Blessed Knives said, James Hart, the Wakizashi. Oh, I'd build one from scratch. Oh, I'd just build one from scratch. Just haven't gotten around to it. Oh, I got you. Yeah, you should. You should do it. Do it. Bless Knives. I need to look you up, Bless Knives. I'm not even sure if I follow you, but I should. Oh, wait a sec. Sorry, just writing it down so I don't forget. Boy, I got to get a new computer one of these days soon, and I'm not going to be writing on the new one. Cooper Clark says, I don't remember knife prices being affected that much from the tariffs. I know gym equipment, barbells, squat racks, plates, etc., going through the roof. Yeah, I thought there was something happening with the steel, but we had so much here already or something like that. But I can imagine gym equipment. Yeah, because all of that's just like, you have a hardened steel blade, but you have workout equipment. I'm sure a lot of that stuff is hardened steel, and it's all steel, and it's tons of it, slabs of it, like literally. James Hart said, I bought the Musashi Tactical Wakizashi. It's not traditional, but I like the look. It has 1060 HC blade, takes a great edge. Yeah, and yeah, I like the modern interpretations of old knives as well. Dawson's making some pretty cool swords, doing kind of a modern and traditional mashup. Mark Stallman says Green River knives can get sharp as hell and hold the edge well. The Dexter is a keeper. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna have to definitely find one of these, or at least look them up, because it's reminding me of, like, it sounds like a classic knife that I just don't know about. Professor EDC's today's carry is the AB Imamba. Wait. What's the AB Imamba? AB is in Aaron Bieber knives. GEC 44. I love that knife. And the White River Sendero. Sendero. Does that mean path? And GEC 44. That's the gun stock. That's an awesome one. And what is the AB Imamba? Sorry to ask you so many questions, Professor, but it's in your name, Professor. So James Hart says, FYI, if you want a real kukri, look up Kukri House Thamel. They're located in Kathmandu, Nepal. All their blades are handmade out of 5160 leaf spring. Ooh, that's a good tip. Thank you, James. Kukri man. James is the Kukri man. Raylene says, rule number 9, never leave your house without a knife. Yes. Who was it? Dirk Werning always has number 9 in his videos, and I asked him, what is that? Because I never watched, what was that show? It was from a show, and I don't remember what that is. You lost the knife cam. Oh, crap. All right, thanks, Jim. I guess she didn't have enough juice tonight. Northern Knives. Bob, thanks for the praise. We worked hard on this project. Oh, man. Yeah, it shows. It's pretty incredible. NCIS. Thank you, Jim. NCIS is the one with the guy who's got all the rules, and number 9 is never leave the house without a knife. I don't know the guy. I don't know the show, but I love that line. So I love the show. Stephen Clayton says, Tim of TKL Knives calls his grips grenade grips due to the groove pattern. Oh, I thought you were talking. I thought he was asking not about the pattern, but about this type of handle, because we've seen a number of this type of handle recently. But yeah, these little divots, he calls them the grenade grips. And to be truthful, the first time I saw them, I didn't like them. And then I got them in hand and really blinded by their usefulness. And now I think they look awesome. As a matter of fact, some knives that I draw just design wise, I'll put them in just because I think they look cool. And then I have to show them the design. Todd Carr says, nah, you have an actual neck, something that many bodybuilders no longer have. Seems. Yeah, an actual neck. I'm trying not to be such a pencil neck. I'm trying not to have such a pencil neck. And when I did jujitsu a lot, I would do all sorts of neck bridges and stuff, and my neck got strong. And I haven't done that. I haven't done jujitsu in years. So I haven't done a neck bridge. God, I don't know if it would probably freaking break myself in half if I did that now. But so I do these different neck exercises, like neck sit-ups and neck just because I don't want to get in a crash. And I don't know, as I get older, as my dad says, like, as you get older, the tissue starts to go away and you'll start to notice, oh, my neck is thinning out. My legs are thinning out. Stuff's thinning out. It's like, I still haven't even gotten all my muscle mass yet. Yeah, Bob, that ship sailed years ago. So just try and save what you got. And yeah, I don't want a pencil neck, but it would be cool to have one of those bodybuilder necks. Anyway, Todd Carr says, pretty sure you can get epoxy that has UV blockers in it already. Would be smart for knives and handles, I imagine. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, epoxy that has UV, that you can use a UV light to harden. I've gotten that from Home Depot. The actual light is right on the damn thing, right on the package. Craig Vincent says, black micarta on the Ladakh. Ooh, nice. Did you put that on yourself? Adrian says, how do you eat it? With your hands? Oh, yeah. That's a George line, right? Craig Vincent, growing up, it was always Mary Jane's, bit of honey, fireballs, squirrel nuts at the neighborhood penny candy store. Yeah. I don't know. I think, Craig, you might be a little bit older than me, older than I am, but I mean, all right, dude. Jay, if you're watching, you won a knife here weeks ago and you never sent me your address, Jay. You won that Civivi and it's been sitting locked up at my desk at work waiting to be sent. Jay Demeter, if you're listening, please send me your address. Go to the Knife Junkie, just email it to TheKnifeJunkie at gmail.com. Jay Demeter, send me your address, sir. I'm dying to get this Civivi out to you because soon it's going to make its way back into my collection. Or make its way into my collection. It's brand new. So please send it to me. I really slowed my knife purchasing, but still enjoy looking around. You enjoy Civivis, Jay? You enjoy Civivis? I think you'll enjoy this one. It's pretty cool. Or is it a Sen cut? It's one of the two. It's a cool one, though. Doug says, Bob, do you know of any smaller fixed blade knives that have the mini serrations or rough edge? Mini serrations or rough edge. Well, let me think about that, Doug. My mind is going to a million different places. Arno Bernard. Ooh, we have an aristocrat. That's very nice, man. Arno Bernard. Says Professor EDC. Doug, let me think about it. And if anyone else has a line on anything like that, I have the Northman, which is a small fixed blade knife, and I have it with serrations. But I mean, you can't recommend that knife to anyone who's not. I mean, the thing is audaciously expensive. I didn't buy it for myself; it was a gift, and so it's hard to recommend that one. I got to think about it. Robert says, Bob, I have seen that there are pocket clips for Victorinox. I've been thinking about ordering 2 of them for my Cyber Tool and the Huntsman's I have. What do you think? Oh, I think I've seen some pretty cool looking. Give it a try, man. I mean, yeah, I would totally give it a try. Been trying. My son sent an email a week ago. I'm wondering. All right, if you don't mind, send it again. And I'll just look again tonight as soon as we're done, and any new email that comes in. But I don't know. I honest to goodness don't think I saw his email unless. So I have my inbox, and then it also puts emails in promotions and another box, and it could have done that for a while. It was doing that with some important emails, and I had to eat crow, which would sucked. Professor EDC says, so Jay, I'll take a look, but also if you don't mind, just please just drop me a quick email again tonight, and I will get it right after this, and I'll send it out tomorrow. Professor EDC says, Bob, would you please show your marvelous Wakizashi? It's been some time since I've seen it and would love it. Okay, yeah. All right. I'm going to dust it off. Okay. So it's come a little bit unwrapped here, but this was a gift from my wife, and I found it, but she bought it for me. This was at one of the 6th Avenue flea markets in New York City. It's where I got some of my finest weaponry. A lot of antique dealers with stuff brought back from World War II. And I put that under the knife cam, but I don't have the knife cam. So I'm going to put it right here and show you. So we've got ray skin. That green ray skin has been sanded down and lacquered. This thing, I don't know what it's called. Everything on here has a name, but this thing that holds the lace is the two-backed monster. It's a couple in a loving embrace, if you will. Doing it right here on my sheath. And then you've got that sort of knife that comes out. I sort of have bound it in here with this paracord, which I used to hang it on the wall. And there's the blade. It's got a couple of chips at the tip, as if someone at one time felt the need to hit it against another sword or something. But I've never bothered to take care of that. It's got a nice, what do you call that thing? Hamon, and a very nice, looking Suba here with a floral motif. I'm not saying this is like a samurai sword, but it's pretty old. I think it's from early 20th century. I don't know. It's hard to tell. I've seen swords that look like it, that purport to be from the early 20th century. I mean, again, this is not an old, like an old samurai sword, and it's not a weapon that was used in World War. As far as I know, it's not the sort of sword that was made to be used during World War II. Those are usually bigger and don't have such ornate treatment, at least the ones I've seen. And they have more like a built-in belt accommodations. Anyway, thanks for asking to see it. I love this thing. And my wife and I have decided that if we ever had to go, go out and fight zombies or whatever, this is what she would take, because she's a petite woman, and this would suit her very well. Great for one hand for me, great for two hands for her. Damn, that's badass, says Robert. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I like having badass knives. I like impressing my my friends who are impressed by cool things. Bummer. I'm sorry about the knife cam loss. I would get up and close and personal on this amorous couple here. It's really cool to look at. They're like going, yeah, they're just happy to be here. Yep. So there it is. What else do I have? I mean, I have a bunch of stuff on the table, but I'm gonna show this one again, but not under the knife cam. Very nice Wakizashi, says Adrian. Thank you, Adrian. And speaking of fighting, Adrian Fighter, here's a sweet fighter. I love this. Very nice Wakizashi, says Mark Stallman. I love the green color of this Wakizashi also. And it is a perfect size. Artisan Keto Cheetos says, well, what happened? I heard I won. Sorry, I left my phone on the toolbox. Yes, sir, you won. You won this. You won the Sting from Dagger Knives. So please send me your mailing address, TheKnifeJunkie.com at Gmail. No, I'm sorry. TheKnifeJunkie at gmail.com, and I will get this out to you tomorrow, hopefully. Bob, the Green River knife was what you were using when you weren't fighting with your Bowie or Arkansas toothpick. They're an old expression, up to Green River. There's an old expression, up to Green River, which equated something with quality. Oh, interesting. So you'd say something like, how's that knife, Jim? And you say, well, it's up to Green River, Bob. And I'd say, oh, all right. Northern Knife says, gotta head to the cigar lounge. Have a good night. Have a great night, Mike. Thank you so much for sending us this knife, and have an awesome time at your Alaskan cigar lounge. I mean, like, put all that together. The man owns a knife shop in Alaska, and he's going to a cigar bar. That just sounds awesome. Alaska Knives Cigars. Just add whiskey and women, and it's a full recipe. Artisan Keto Cheeto says, "Will you do? Will do. You are the man, Bob." Well, thank you, Cheeto. You too, as well, are the man and the snack. You come in all different shapes and sizes, and we appreciate you. Thank you very much, sir. All right, I'm going to put this here, Jed Hornbeak, back in its sheath. But man, I I need more Jed Hornbeak in my collection. Not in a rush. It's got to be the right thing. The funny thing about him, though, is like having this knife and having experienced his other knives, the quality is so outrageous. I mean, really, really outrageous. Gotta scoot. Stay safe. Doug Bowl, thank you so much, my man. Thank you for joining us, as always. The quality and the build is so tremendous that even a knife that I find is ugly from him, I would take in a heartbeat. James Hart says, what have I heard? What I have heard is that Green River knives had the logo up by the handle. So you'd stick it up in the green. Oh, so you'd stick it in up to the Green River. I got you. That's interesting. Stick it up to the Green River. All right. Well, I'm going to have to look up Green River now. That's a whole rabbit hole I expect to go down. I go down them easily, and like my hobo rabbit hole recently. Yeah. I was up late the other night reading just account after account of kids who had ridden the rails during the Great Depression. Holy shit. Be like me sending out my daughter. Well, I hope you find work, and hope you find food, and hope you find your way back here. But if not, nice knowing you. That, oh my God, man, the way people have lived in other eras is unfathomable at a certain point. Anyway, I was trying to read a note there and got lost. All right. Thanks, Jim. That's going to do it for us tonight for the Knife Junkie podcast. I urge you to become a patron by scanning the QR code on the screen or going to TheKnifeJunkie.com/Patreon so that you stand to win. Sorry, with the thumb. This really, really unique, beautiful, and super cool AD 20.5, courtesy of Northern Knives and Paul Munko's colorful filth designs. So this thing is cool in a way. I can't wait to get it out of here because it is so cool. It'd be one that would go very well in my collection. I'm also afraid of scratching it. So before, when I was handling it with my left hand, I took off the wedding ring. So this could be yours by going to TheKnifeJunkie.com/Patreon. Craig says, I make awesome hobo coffee when camping. I just made my first hobo coffee yesterday. And if hobo coffee is the same as cowboy coffee anyway, I loved it. And it tasted so good. Maybe it was because it took me forever to make, but I loved it. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us on Thursday Night Knives on this 12th of September, 2024. I hope you all had a wonderful week. And it's the start of the weekend, so I hope you have a wonderful weekend. All right, for Jim, working his magic behind the switcher, I'm Bob DeMarco saying, until next time, don't take dull for an answer.